Finally tonight, remembering actor Paul Reubens, who created the whimsical, beloved character Pee-wee Herman.
Paul Reubens, who rose to fame in the 1980s as the character Pee-wee Herman on kids' entertainment shows, has died at the age of 70.
Paul Reubens, the beloved actor and comedian behind the unforgettable Pee-wee Herman, has passed away. Known for his quirky antics and signature high-pitched voice,
Please save your questions until I'm through, Chuck!
Pee-wee Herman became a cultural icon. Reubens' career stretched over decades, marked by both tremendous acclaim and public controversy. From whimsical performances to a headline-making arrest, his journey was filled with dramatic highs and lows. Today, we're diving into the extraordinary life of Paul Reubens and the events that led to his tragic, untimely passing. Born Paul Rubenfeld. On August 27, 1952, in Peekskill, New York, Reubens grew up surrounded by a rich cultural atmosphere. His parents, Judy and Milton Rubenfeld, nurtured his creative spirit and introduced him to a variety of artistic experiences. One of the most vivid memories from his childhood was attending the annual Ringling Brothers and Barnum Bailey Circus. When the family moved to Sarasota, Florida, Paul found himself living among performers from the famous circus. Their vibrant presence deeply influenced him. He became a regular at their shows, sparking a fascination with showbiz that only grew stronger. Despite his parents' initial hesitation, he threw himself into performing, from backyard productions to local theater performances. Paul looked up to young stars like Ron Howard and dreamed of a life on stage. After finishing high school, he spent a semester at Plymouth State University before enrolling at Boston University. Determined to pursue acting, he applied to numerous drama schools but faced multiple rejections, including 2 from Carnegie Mellon and 1 from Juilliard. Eventually, he found his place at the California Institute of the Arts. Moving to California proved pivotal. While working odd jobs, including in restaurant kitchens and as a Fuller Brush salesman, Paul continued to chase his dream. It was during this time that he joined the Groundlings, a renowned improv comedy troupe. Surrounded by future stars, Reubens refined his style and developed what would become his alter ego, Pee-wee Herman. During a Groundlings sketch, the cast created characters based on comedy club performers. Paul, not particularly fond of stand-up, invented Pee-wee Herman, a nervous, awkward comic who couldn't quite land a joke or outwit hecklers. The character was odd, but there was something charming and unforgettable about him. Pee-wee didn't explode in popularity overnight. The character's signature traits, his loud laugh, gray suit, and oversized red bow tie, emerged gradually. Reubens meticulously fine-tuned Pee-wee with each performance, shaping a persona that would soon become legendary. In 1981, the Pee-wee Herman Show premiered as a live stage production and received rave reviews. Its success led to an HBO special, cementing Pee-wee's place in pop culture. The character's momentum grew even stronger when Reubens collaborated with a young Tim Burton in 1985 for Pee-wee's Big Adventure, a film that brought widespread acclaim and opened doors for more Hollywood projects. That same year, Pee-wee's Playhouse hit television. With its colorful design, zany characters, and unique humor, the show captivated both kids and adults. One of the creatives behind the project, Wayne White, later praised Reubens for giving unknown artists a chance and fostering their creativity. "No one else in Hollywood would have trusted us," White said, "but Paul did." Pee-wee's Playhouse was more than just a kids' show. It was a surreal art project with heart and depth. Reubens' vision gave space for creativity to flourish in ways rarely seen on mainstream television. Before all of this success, Reubens had already started to make his mark in the 1970s, performing at local comedy clubs and even appearing 14 times on The Gong Show. He developed a boy-girl comedy duo with Charlotte McGinnis called Betty and Eddie. He joined the Groundlings soon after and collaborated with comedy greats like Phil Hartman and Bob McClurg. Reubens landed a minor role in the Blues Brothers in 1980, but faced a setback when he was rejected from Saturday Night Live. Feeling defeated, he considered leaving Hollywood for good. But then he remembered a strange little character he'd created, the one with the squeaky voice and oversized personality. With financial help from his parents and creative input from Hartman and John Paragon, Reubens revived Pee-wee. Drawing inspiration from shows like Howdy Doody, they crafted the Pee-wee Herman Show, a parody of 1950s kids programs infused with adult humor and absurdity. The story revolved around a boy living in a fantastical playhouse with puppet characters like Terry the Pterodactyl and Captain Carl. The show blended innocence with clever satire. After each energetic, fun-filled performance, Pee-wee would wish to fly. And in the grand finale, thanks to Jambi the Genie, his wish came true in a jubilant musical number. The character's catchphrase, "I'm the luckiest boy in the world." Debuting in 1981 with midnight shows at the Groundlings Theater, the Pee-wee Herman show quickly attracted a cult following. Critics praised its avant-garde aesthetic and innovative set design. It sold out for 5 months at the Roxy Theater in LA and was later filmed as an HBO special, launching Pee-wee into national fame. Paul Reubens wasn't just a comedian. He was a trailblazer who fused surrealism with nostalgia, silliness with smarts. His talent, vision, and ability to turn the absurd into magic left a lasting mark on comedy, television, and American pop culture. At this point in his career, Paul Reubens decided to fully adopt the Pee-wee Herman persona, leaving behind his real name. Embracing this character wholeheartedly, he began making regular appearances on television shows and in films. One of his most notable recurring spots was on Late Night with David Letterman, where Letterman once quipped that Pee-wee looked like a mischievous and clever child, though deep down there seemed to be something almost sinister pulling the strings. Thanks to his growing visibility and distinct comedic style, Pee-wee Herman unexpectedly rose to iconic status during that era of entertainment. His popularity was so immense that Warner Brothers moved forward with plans for a full-length feature film built around the character. At the time, Hollywood had a trend of developing movies based on standout comedic figures, though crafting a successful film around a single comic character was far from easy. The big question was, how do you turn such a quirky and high-energy personality into the compelling lead of a 90-minute movie? Paul sought to answer that very question from his office on the Warner Brothers studio lot, despite having zero experience writing screenplays. While struggling through his first draft, Paul found his attention drifting toward a curious sight outside: bicycles. It wasn't uncommon to see Warner Bros. Employees zipping across the lot on bikes, quickly moving between sets. Paul, intrigued, jokingly asked the studio for one of his own. To his delight, they surprised him with a fully restored 1940 Schwinn. He was instantly smitten. Inspired by his new bike, Paul tossed out his initial script and teamed up with collaborators Phil Hartman and Michael Varhol to write a brand new screenplay, one that revolved entirely around biking. With this fresh concept in hand, they began searching for a director who could bring Pee-wee's bizarre yet heartfelt world to life. Paul ended up attending a screening of Frankenweenie, a short film created by Disney in 1984 and hosted by his friend Shelley Duvall. After watching it, he felt sure that the director behind it was the right choice to shape Pee-wee's cinematic debut. That director? A relatively unknown talent at the time named Tim Burton. The Warner Brothers, recognizing potential, took a leap of faith and hired Burton. He brought a darker, whimsical edge to the project, using surreal dream sequences, stop-motion animation, and imaginative set design, all of which perfectly suited Pee-wee's oddball universe. When it came to the film's music, Paul had an unconventional idea. He wanted the lead singer of his favorite band, Oingo Boingo, to compose the score. After attending several shows, Burton agreed, and the band's frontman, Danny Elfman, reluctantly accepted the challenge. Though it was his first film score, Elfman rose to the occasion. It was a remarkable coming together of fresh, unconventional talent. The result was a cinematic experience that introduced audiences to an unlikely hero. The movie struck a chord, earning a passionate cult following and staying in the top 3 at the box office for 6 weeks straight. While it couldn't surpass the popularity of a certain time-traveling DeLorean, it still managed to rake in $40 million from just a $7 million budget. The plot of Pee-wee's Big Adventure was simple but effective. Pee-wee embarks on a wild journey to retrieve his stolen bicycle. That premise, though modest, was enough to showcase Reubens' comedic brilliance and Pee-wee's lovable eccentricities. The film's success launched Tim Burton's illustrious directing career and marked the beginning of Danny Elfman's impressive run, scoring over 100 films, many in partnership with Burton. Pee-wee used the film's momentum to reinvent his original stage act into a full-fledged children's morning show, Pee-wee's Playhouse. The show was a major hit, earning 15 Emmy Awards and further cementing the character's place in pop culture. By 1985, Pee-wee Herman had even earned the honor of hosting Saturday Night Live, a full-circle moment, given that Paul Reubens had once been rejected when he auditioned to be on the cast. Initially, few believed a Pee-wee Herman film could succeed. It was a quirky comedy, made with a tight budget, helmed by a first-time director, scored by a newcomer, and based on a character who had never held a starring role in television or film. But it was exactly these so-called limitations that became its greatest strengths. Reubens crafted a story that introduced Pee-wee to a broader audience, while keeping the humor accessible to both loyal fans and new viewers. His bold decision to trust rising talents like Tim Burton and Danny Elfman paid off. Together, they brought distinct creative voices to the film, making it both artistic and entertaining. In the end, Pee-wee Herman proved to be a character who, though polarizing, left a lasting impression, charming some, annoying others, but unforgettable to all. Paul Reubens created the Pee-wee Herman persona to portray a comedian lacking self-awareness, a man oblivious to how others perceived him. However, his career suffered a major blow in July 1991 when he was arrested during a police raid at an adult movie theater in Sarasota, Florida. He was caught masturbating publicly inside the theater, resulting in charges of indecent exposure. This incident shocked his fans and severely damaged his wholesome, family-friendly image. Reubens pleaded no contest to the charges and was sentenced to complete 75 hours of community service, all while maintaining his innocence. The scandal led to the cancellation of Pee-wee's Playhouse, and CBS promptly stopped airing reruns of the show. But legal troubles didn't end there. In November 2002, Reubens faced another serious accusation, possession of child pornography. His publicist strongly denied the claims, explaining that the materials were part of a large historical art photography collection. Ultimately, the district attorney dropped the child pornography charges, but Reubens pleaded guilty to a lesser obscenity charge and received 3 years probation. Although the second arrest further complicated his public image and career, it was not as damaging as the first. Despite the controversies, Reubens received support from some prominent Hollywood figures, including Bill Cosby and Zsa Zsa Gabor, who argued that while his actions were inappropriate, they had not harmed others. Nonetheless, public opinion remained split, with many questioning his character and motives. After these setbacks, Paul Reubens withdrew from the spotlight to rebuild his career. He took on various roles, sometimes using different names to distance himself from the Pee-wee Herman stigma. One notable comeback was his critically praised performance in the 1999 superhero parody, Mystery Men. He also showcased his vocal talents in animated films such as Disney's Hercules and Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas, proving his ability to move beyond Pee-wee and explore diverse artistic avenues. Reubens continued to work steadily, appearing in television series like Reno 911 and films including Blow, 2001. In 2010, he revived Pee-wee Herman on Broadway with a new adaptation of The Pee-wee Herman Show. The revival was successful and eventually led to the release of a new Pee-wee film, Pee-wee's Big Holiday, on Netflix in 2016. This movie allowed Reubens to introduce Pee-wee to a new generation while reconnecting with longtime fans. Throughout his career, Reubens frequently made guest appearances on various TV shows and movies, infusing each role with his distinctive style. He played Rick, a member of the Citizens Patrol, on Comedy Central's Reno 911, which led to a small part in the 2007 film Reno 911 Miami. In 2006, he appeared as the mischievous antagonist in the music video for the Raconteurs song Steady As She Goes. In 2007, Reubens participated in a tribute event at the San Francisco Sketchfest, discussing his career. That same year, he signed a deal with NBC to develop a sitcom pilot titled Area 57, centered around a passive-aggressive alien. Unfortunately, the show was not picked up for the 2007 to 2008 season. Reubens also made a memorable guest appearance on NBC's 30 Rock, playing an inbred Austrian prince, a role specially written for him by Tina Fey. Additionally, he appeared 3 times on FX's series Dirt as Chuck LaFawn, a washed-up alcoholic reporter. In the final years of his life, Reubens continued to work on numerous projects. According to Variety, at the time of his death, He had two exciting Pee-wee Herman projects underway: the Pee-wee Herman story and Pee-wee's Playhouse, the movie. The last film he directed was Pee-wee's Big Holiday, 2016, released on Netflix. Reubens faced serious health battles, fighting myogenic leukemia and metastatic lung cancer. Despite these challenges, he remained active in his work, demonstrating his trademark resilience and wit. On July 30th, 2023, Paul Reubens passed away from acute hypoxic respiratory failure at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles. Following his death, a statement he had pre-written was released to the world, finally revealing his private struggle. "Please accept my apology for not going public with what I've been facing for the last 6 years," he wrote. "I have always felt a huge amount of love and respect from my friends, fans, and supporters. I have loved you all so much and enjoyed making art for you." The news of his death was met with an outpouring of grief and affection from fans and fellow celebrities, a testament to the profound impact he had on comedy and entertainment. In his final wishes, Reubens asked that any expressions of sympathy be made as donations to Stand Up to Cancer and organizations researching dementia and Alzheimer's. Paul Reubens' legacy is one of remarkable complexity, a story of creative genius, public disgrace, quiet resilience, and triumphant reclamation. He remains a cherished figure, remembered not only for the joyful anarchy of Pee-wee Herman, but for the remarkable talent, generosity, and unwavering spirit of the artist who brought him to life.